You're listening to PlayStation Power. I'm George, and with me is Greg.
That's me.
And, we decided to cover Dynasty Warriors 3 for this episode. Did you like it? Let's just cut through all the bullshit. Is it a good game? No.
Well, I believe I mentioned before in my Dynasty Warrior 2 coverage that I spent more time with this game than I did with 2 back when they were new. So I think this game is better than 2. It's not. It's very, very similar to 2. We're gonna get into that later on, but I wish it was a bit different. But yeah, pretty much, if you enjoyed 1 and 2, then you'll love 3.
I think I said for that Dynasty Warriors 2 episode that I played more of this than I did the second game. It was like, it just makes me want to play the third one, so I did that instead.
Yeah.
But anyway, this game has some interesting stuff I didn't know about it. This game was released for the PlayStation 2, North America, November 26, 2001. Japan is September 20th, 2001. EU, March 22nd, 2002. It was also released for the Xbox, Microsoft Xbox, North America, September 30th, 2002. Japan is September 26th, 2002. And EU got it June 12th, 2002. On top of that, this was also released for the PlayStation Network only in Japan, January 16th, 2013. Again, another game that we got fucked out of. They just fucked the game right out of us. Developer was Omega Force. Now here, this is where this gets interesting. I did not know this. Publisher, Japan/North America, Koei. And the publisher for the PAL territories, THQ.
Yes, that I did know, because they, I think it's because that THQ simply had a bigger market presence in Europe, Europe at that time.
But they didn't in North America?
Well, I mean,
I feel like THQ was a bigger name than Koei at that time.
Well, Koei wanted to publish the game themselves in North America because, of course, they make more money if they publish it themselves versus having to, give the rights out to somebody else. So,
right.
I mean, and they already had... Koei had always published...
I mean, Omega Force is their development house, so they would be getting the money anyway.
Right. Well, I mean, like licensing out to THQ to handle publishing and distribution, like in Europe, because Koei had always published all their games themselves in North America, going back to the mid '80s. So that wasn't going to change.
Which is interesting because you don't see that a lot around that time.
No.
Usually they get some kind of American company or some company that has a name.
Right.
Over there. Anyway, Dynasty Warriors 3. If you don't know, it's a hack and slash game. Also, Wikipedia likes to say that's tactical action, and you know what? Sure. Alright, yeah, that's about right. That sounds good enough for me.
Yeah, there are some tactics involved. I mean, you have to... in most battles, you have to follow the objectives given to you, or otherwise you're going to lose the mission, and you're kind of advised to follow.
If you talk to the wrong person, they'll disagree about the tactical stuff. But yes, you're right.
I mean, it's not heavy; it's light tactics. But I mean, your tactics are pretty much kind of like, okay, I need to get to point A. I'm at point B. How do I get there? But
you walk, or you use a horse.
Well, I meant the path you actually take, but whatever.
Yeah, that's a... So I found myself on a few levels like, I need to get there, and I'm on one side, and I try to get over there, and fuck, there's not a bridge, so I have to go to another side of the map, find the bridge, and then walk all the way back, and it's just like, Jesus, why can't he just step in the shallow water and just walk across? But,
yeah,
most of the time, use your super jump and jump all the way over there because you jump high enough for that.
Yeah, in some battles you're screwed because you're also fighting enemies the whole way doing that.
I mean, if your character's powerful enough, you're not really screwed per se. But yeah, going back to this game, it's as difficult as I remember it being. But I mean, there are levels where I was kicking ass, and then I went back to the Musu mode, which is the story mode, and I got my ass handed to me. And that level was just so fucking hard, even with a just a really buffed up character could not do shit. Which sucks, because it's like I feel so weak.
Yeah, I think this game overall was more difficult than 2 is.
Oh, 2 was pretty easy.
Yeah.
From what I played. Which is interesting, because I actually went back to playing 2, like last month or something like that. I played it for like a day. I was like, wow, this is much easier than I remember it being. And, man, going to this game, it's a huge improvement. Even like the music and everything, like some of the music is reused, but what they did was they like remixed it and like added onto it.
Right.
Which is really cool. You can really tell, like, I think things like character selection screen, maybe, definitely the, when you're looking at the map before, you know, the whole setup process before you start the mission, or whatever you want to call it, like that stuff. So, like, that's really cool. You can really tell that it's an improvement. I've noticed some things about this game that don't do as well as the second game. The only thing right now I can think of off the top of my head is the whole part of the morale system. So in the second game, when you start, or just in the games in general, when you start attacking a unit, it'll show you a health bar with, you know, what their rank is and who's their commanding officer or whatever, blah blah blah, and you'll see stars for morale. In the second game, you'll get a bar under those stars to show you how much until that morale is brought down. In this game, they took that out, so now you just see the stars. It's a very minor thing, but I kind of like that in the second game because you can tell when somebody's morale is going down. But it's not an issue. It's just a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. This game's a huge, kind of like, Jesus, like a loot game, kind of, because you can go and get weapons and you can go and get items. They are not really necessarily in a specific area or something. It's just a random drop. So if you defeat an officer or somebody guarding a camp, like an enemy camp, or you might even just find it in crates or pots, you'll find stats from enemies. So like you'll get like attack up +1, +2, plus whatever. You know, you'll find that defeating officers and everything. And you'll also find those items. Those items are like rare to find unless I think the in-game luck item helps you get a better chance of getting more items, or maybe better items.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does.
Yeah, something like that. So before you jump into a mission, you have a setup screen. It shows you the map. So this is what I liked about these older games, is they actually showed you the map, the area. So like, oh, okay, now I can take note of this whole area before I actually jump into it. First of all, I mean, you could just pause the game and look at the map anyway, but it's just a really cool feeling because it feels like you're in the war room. You're like, okay, this is the battlefield, man, you know?
Right.
You know, we're starting here, the enemy's over there, now let's plot a course or something like that. It's cool. But, yeah, you set up your items, your weapons, your bodyguards. So there's a shit ton of items, and I don't even have half of them. I've been playing this game for so many hours, and I don't even have like half of the items, which is terrible because I've been playing for so long. Weapons are interesting because you can pick up a weapon on the battlefield, and if you survive the mission, if you win, victory, you get a weapon, and it can have all these different fucking stats on it. It's insane. So when I was playing, I found a bunch of weapons, and some of them were just like, oh, HP +1, defense +2, and then there was one that was just like Musu Max +10, HP +5, attack +this, defense +this. So like sometimes you'll just get shitty weapons and they don't do much, or you'll just get like really crazy overpower weapons, and it's great because I didn't get any of the better weapons. I got weapons that were lower tiered. Like I have 3rd tiered weapon on one of my characters, and I kept getting like tier 1 weapons. It's like, oh, I'm not going to be using these because they don't add enough. So that's another problem. You'll find loot, and it's just like, oh, it's loot that I can't really use because it's not as powerful. But it's still like it adds replayability because you want to go and get the better items out there. And then lastly, the whole bodyguard thing. Number of bodyguards and strength/rank of bodyguards are according to your rank. You have points. There's a point system, so when you finish the level, it kind of not really kind of rates you. It doesn't give you a rating, but it'll say, oh, you finished the mission in this time, you get these amount of points, and you killed these many men, you get this amount of points, and this and that and the other thing, right? And those points add to your character's rank, and this is for each character. This isn't just a general rank. And every time you rank up, your bodyguards increase, whether it's the number of them, the stats of them, the rank of them, whatever. So that's really cool. That's a thing that they really phased out of the newer games.
Oh yeah.
Bodyguards are not even a thing in the newer games, which is weird because the bodyguards add to it. I think I said when I was streaming it before that, like, hey, I can unleash my bodyguards onto this battlefield and they'll probably do decently well because they're so powerful.
Right.
Which is like, I don't know why they just took them out. It's a really cool thing to have. Because you just have these guys just, they're hanging out with you and they're fighting. The AI is nothing spectacular for them, but whatever, You could equip different weapons on them. Like, you have swords, spears, pikes, bows, crossbows. That's what I really liked, is actually having them be able to attack from a distance. It's a really cool thing. But yeah, there's a shit ton of levels in this game, and I have not even unlocked all of them because this game is so hard to progress. And I'm sure you've noticed that too, Greg.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I didn't play anywhere near as much as you did this time around, but I did spend a lot of time with this back in the day when the game was new. And I think I finished one of the campaigns, but
good on you, because I'm having fucking trouble with it.
Yeah, well, that was also the easiest difficulty level. So, but
you play on? Okay, yeah, I know. I play on normal.
Yeah. I mean, I do think the AI is a little bit better in this one as opposed to 2. I mean, still not great like you said, but
it's not roadkill skunk. It's like squirrel in the middle of the road trying to figure out if it should cross or go back.
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned a couple of the downsides about this game. The morale change, like you mentioned. Yeah, I kind of wish they left it. I left it like it wasn't 2.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a minor thing because the morale system's there, and it's it's not like they ramped down on it. This is another thing that they took out of the more recent games. Is the whole morale thing. It's like, why? I mean, it doesn't really do much, to be honest. It's kind of just showing you, how many people. It's kind of like how many officers you defeated in a way. Right. Because, when you defeat more people, it goes down. Like, it just kind of shows you how well you're doing fighting-wise. But, I mean, you can still lose with high morale. If you hit the defeat condition of, something like, specific officer has been defeated or whatever, and then you lose. It's not really a specific thing of, you're winning or losing. I mean, I kind of wish it was. Like, that'd be really cool to have a game with a morale system. So, like, even your commanding officer has been taken out, but hey, you're still gonna fight, and then you might have a chance of winning. That'd be cool instead of just ending the game. Right. But it's whatever.
Yeah.
It's more of a like ambiance thing than mechanical thing in a way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, this game uses the same engine as number 2, so as far as controls and graphics and whatnot, it's pretty much the same.
The graphics are a little bit better.
A little bit better.
Definitely. I mean, you could definitely tell, but it's nothing. It's not like supreme or anything.
But on the downside, and I remember this happening back on my original copy back then too. There's a little bit more slowdown and sluggishness in this game as compared to 2.
That's probably because there's the draw distance is further, which is cool, because having that fog like 10 feet in front of you in the second game was just kind of bad.
True.
The slowdown. Yeah, I mean, if you get enough guys on the screen and then you use your Musu attack where you attack like everybody at the same time, yeah, like you're gonna have points where the game will lock up for like a split second. And so if you pay attention, you'll actually see the HUD disappear too when it slows down slow enough.
Huh. I did not see.
Yeah, it's really interesting. This is a thing that I noticed when I was a kid. Yeah. I should probably get into that for a quick second. This was a childhood game of mine, believe it or not, which is interesting. But I used to... So this was on a demo disc. Of course it was. It was on a PS2 demo disc. And I would play this almost all the time for years. Honestly, years. Like, so much that I actually have the music of that level like ingrained into my brain, and then I just forgot about it. I stopped playing and I forgot about it, and then I was like, oh hey, I have money, like I should go buy a game. I was like, wait, what about that Dynasty Warriors game? And you know, I bought it and just played it. So yeah, it's a childhood game of mine, bought with my own money, like used, like by GameStop. I actually had to go and get a replacement game because the one that I originally got was all scratched up. So apparently somebody hates Dynasty Warriors 3 and then they sold it to GameStop. So fuck you. but anyway. Yeah, no, that sucks when you get a game and it's all scratched up. That's not funny, Greg. What's wrong with you?
Well, at least you can take it back.
Well, yeah.
But, yeah. But yeah, they usually do a better job of looking at they usually do better. Well,
no, they don't. I sold GameStop a fucked up iPod Touch, and the guy gave it a quick glance over, did not even really check specific things. He just bought it off of me. It's like, yeah.
Okay, well,
it's a good thing they don't check their shit.
Yeah. I've had good luck. So
okay, well that's good. The video game gods have smiled upon you, and they allowed you to get games that are not fucked up. I mean, you could just resurface those games, but being a kid, like, how are you gonna have a resurfacing tool? Right. I have one now. I fucking learned my lesson. Like, I have one now. But back then, no way.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those things where, like, you think, like, oh, the game's scratched up now, like, we can't play it because it's fucked forever. It's like, no, just resurface it. It'll be fine. You keep resurfacing it until you hit that data layer.
You're right. Yeah.
But nobody's gonna be resurfacing a game that much.
Well, you'd hope not.
You're right. I would hope not, because if somebody's doing that, what are they doing? So I have to ask you: do you have like a main character for this game? Is there a character that you always go and play that he's like super buffed up, or what?
Due to my history of playing romance of the Three Kingdoms games and games inspired by that, Liu Bai and his friends are always favorites of mine. Guan Yu and Zhang Fi. I always like playing it. I mean, those are my three go-to guys that I can. Cao Cao is also nice to play as. He's good and strong too.
Yeah. I usually play from the Shu forces, which is the... Well, if you want to get into the technical terms, they're the green guys. First character you pick right there, Zhao Yun is my guy. Always play as him. Every single fucking game I play as him. And I also like spears a lot. So, there's that. And then I was starting to build up another character. I forgot his name. These names are not easy to remember.
No.
But this is, I think he was a Shu force as well. The guy with the fucking staff, and he makes weird noises. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yes, I do know what you're talking about.
I think his name is Pang Tong or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
I was working on him. His Musu attacks are really good. That's the, he literally floats in the air and does like a fire attack on everybody in the area. And that's one of those ones where you'll lag the game like hell.
Right.
But yeah, he's good. Oh man, I forgot how bad it sucks to play this game with a weak character. Because damn, you get your ass kicked even by the weaker enemies.
Yeah.
They'll do some decent damage on you.
It's a challenge.
Yeah, but it's worth it to get into a character, invest your time and everything, get new weapons and get power, like buff them up and everything. It's worth it because it's fun to play. What's interesting, I didn't bring this up with the weapons before, but what's interesting about the weapons is that when you get a higher tiered weapon, it'll like make your combo go longer, which is the weirdest thing I've heard. Instead of like buffing up your character to be able to, have a higher combo, no, it's all according to the weapon. So I think like the first weapon's only like 4 attacks or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that. And then, I mean, you could also do, what do they call it? Strong attacks or something? Where you'll do like a square, triangle type of thing.
Right, yeah, combo move.
Yeah. Yeah, this game is really cool. The music is kick-ass, it really is. Whether you're winning, you're losing, whatever. The music in this game is pretty goddamn good.
Yeah, it's a good soundtrack. I mean, 1 and 2 had good soundtracks too, but they really kicked it up a notch like with this one, I thought. It sounds very area appropriate. So it kind of has a
electric guitars area appropriate.
Well, I mean, like the actual.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that I was going to say. Let me finish. That even though they use modern instruments, the overall feel of the song feels very like Chinese and historically appropriate, like in that time period.
Right. It's like if you gave the ancient Chinese an electric guitar.
And like, here, go nuts.
Yeah, it's weird because I never really thought about it, but you're right. Like, it's kind of like a combination of ancient and modern in a way, where they'll have this kind of older tone, and then they'll just kick in the fucking electric guitars, and it's like, oh no, it just turned into a J-rock song. But it's just so badass. Oh man, yeah. So I couldn't imagine how long it would take anybody to play all the characters and buff them up all the way in this game.
Oh god, all the characters. Yeah,
there are so many characters. It's insane.
Isn't there like about 150 characters, I want to say, that are playable?
Is there?
Yeah, there could be that many.
Oh my fucking god.
There's a lot.
Yeah. Especially that you play story mode throughout all of them. Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't think all those are story mode. I think some of those are like unlockables, just like,
I think all of them have a story, but I think a lot of them have the same story, if not similar.
Right.
I think like with the different forces, I think they might just replace, like, so instead of this guy, it's just this guy in the cutscene. It's like a different guy in the cutscene, and then you just play. I think some of them might be just the same thing. I could be wrong, but
right. Okay.
It seemed the same for some of them. Yeah, there's 3 main forces, and then there's the ones that are not allied with anyone, really.
Correct. Yep.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yep.
So there's Shu, Wei, and fuck. No, that's not the name of it. What is the third one?
I believe it's Chi.
That might be right. Yeah, that might be right.
Yeah, the aforementioned 3 kingdoms that were fighting in China during this time period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You would know a lot more about this than I would.
Well, I mean, all these games are based upon the famous book, right. Which is, which has been available in English in numerous editions, over the years. It's a pretty good read. So obviously these games play more loose with historical events and whatnot than some other games do. But all the characters and places and battles are at least taken from the book. So and the rough time frame of how like when things happen is also taken from it.
Yeah, I don't know what else to add to that. I'm sorry.
I think the game's very, despite the high difficulty, unless you play it easy, I think this game is very good for pick up and play. Though, however, because you really don't need to know too many controls. Just like pick a strong guy and just go at it. But there's just a lot of it's just hack and slash. So. Obviously, once you master the controls and figure out the combo moves and actually spend time to specialize your character, it helps. But anybody can pick up this game and probably have some fun with it.
Oh yeah, no, I think so. It's just a lot of people apparently like to shit on this. Well, I guess I would say series, not just the game, the specific game. I'd say the series.
Well, that brings up another point I was going to bring up earlier, because the fact that. The later games are not as good. I have not played any of the really. I've not played like any of the recent ones. What are they up to now? 9, I think.
8.
But okay, because 4 was okay, but 4 is where really started falling off the rails.
See, I would say like when 6 came out, that was like the point.
Yeah.
Because like 5 was still good. Like I'd say
I lost all interest after playing. I lost all interest in playing the series after 4, because that's the thing. It's like Koei went to the well one too many times, like this game series. Like very popular when it came out because it's pretty unique game. I mean, we haven't really seen anything like that over here.
You keep saying
that
in the
West yet, but
you say that, but they kept changing the way the game played. Like after. Like 3
but they
and
didn't change enough.
kept changing.
But they didn't change enough of it, because that's another thing about sequels. It's like,
are you sure about that? Because like they added the whole.
Personally, I don't think so, because
choose a weapon and then you level it up in the 4th one, and then
because when it comes to sequels, it's very sequels are very complicated, and I have a lot of respect for companies trying to make a good sequel, because it's not a very it's a very difficult balancing act. You want to make a game that incorporates enough of the original game that people loved, while you also want to add in new things and new concepts to keep the game format like getting stale, and it's never easy. I mean, even some of the best companies, some of the best series have suffered from stumbling blocks trying to hit that format just right now and then. And I just don't think that Koei did enough changes to the games after a while. After a while, they fell into the. At least for me, they fell into the. This is too much of the same thing. Formula, but the new stuff.
If you look at the newer games and compare them to these older games, like they're quite different.
Oh yeah, the newer ones definitely are. With 7 and 8, from what I've seen before, and videos and pictures are very different. I think because they finally learned their lesson and went back and did a major overhaul, rechanging of it. But I mean, and you're right about the games having new stuff. But just for me, the new stuff wasn't good enough. It's like I can have a better weapon. Okay, great. I mean, the gameplay's still mindless hack and slash. Like, what's new here, guys? But so, and after a while, I just got burned out on that.
Yeah. It's just like, how do you, how do you keep making a game?
Like I said, it's a very difficult, challenging act. So I never really get too upset with the company. Like a sequel doesn't turn out all that badly, because it's like I understand the challenge and the difficulty that they're they're trying to go through and trying to make it. So, but I think I think in this case they just simply went to the formula one too many times.
Yeah, I mean, so like 6 and 7, they turned it into. Oh, it's basically kind of like Warriors Orochi, where you just go out and fight and you'll get experience and just level up while in battle.
Right.
And then they rolled it back in 8. Was it 8? Or was 7? So. Or maybe it was 6 and 8 they did that. And then I think in 7, 7 was the one where it actually had the like Dynasty Warriors 2/3 kind of like thing, where you defeat enemies and stuff and you'll pick up like attack +2 and shit. But then they added this like SP, like special points system or whatever, where you defeat officers, you get special points, and then you put into things like, oh, now your combos are longer, or now you do a little more damage, or some.
Yeah, that was a nice feature. That
like
feature
that.
I liked.
I would have rather just like have the Dynasty Warriors thing, to be honest. But I think it was 6. I think 6 was the one where like after you finish a level, your horse levels up too. I think that was a thing. But also 6 is the worst because you can literally keep pressing square and your combo does not end. Like, that is no joke. I've played through a whole level without my weapon stopping, and I was like, this is dumb. So, Dynasty Warriors 6 is the worst, but if you can find it for like $5, you might as well buy it and play it. Like, it's worth $5 at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a game. It's very strange. Yeah, that was the first one they marketed. It was like, oh, this is new for the PS3. It uses the power of the PS3, and frame rates are better, or something like that. Like, it's on the box. It says some bullshit like that. It's like, yeah, it's true, but I think they might have also made 6 for PS2. I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But yeah, this game has a lot of replayability. If you like it, then you'll be coming back to level up all the other characters and play through their stories and shit.
Even just doing the story stuff in the game can take you easily a good 40-50 hours.
God, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about how much time I played
nothing about
this
like
game.
leveling up the characters like you're talking about. You could probably spend, so you could probably spend hundreds of hours playing this game. Flavored that OCD about it.
Yeah.
Which I'm not.
Have you played the PSP games?
No, I haven't.
Oh, they actually kind of changed up the gameplay a little bit. Like, since it's a PSP and it can't render the whole battlefield, they make the battlefield smaller and they make like a tactical map. So it's like a turn-based strategy game on top of the base Dynasty Warriors game.
Huh, okay.
That's pretty cool. So, like, you have to worry about running out of resources, because if you do, then you lose the war, and, there's stuff like, oh, allies are being attacked on this square. You should probably go there and help them, and then they also do the thing of, every mission, like, every war, you level up and gain stats, and then you get, like bodyguards that you can use their special skills and stuff, and they boost your stats and shit like that. And then like your level resets when you go to another war. But you keep these new bodyguards, and these bodyguards eventually will just like boost your stats up enough that you don't need to worry about starting at level 1.
Right.
So that's cool. And then they have a system where you could actually trade bodyguards with other people who have the game. So it's kind of like a card system in a way.
Ah, okay.
It's cool. Have you played the Game Boy game, the Game Boy Advance game?
No, I heard pretty bad things about that one.
So take into the fact that this is Game Boy Advance. I think it does it all right. Like it's kind of like the PSP games in a way, except there's less people. There's like you have to fight like 5 people per screen or some bullshit like that. It's all right, and you could get that for cheap. So. Or you can just emulate it, I guess, but it's alright. I'll try to think. That's basically it. I mean, then there's the spin-off games, Warriors of Orochi, which is actually pretty good. I think there's only like 3 of those, or something like that.
Yeah.
Where that combines Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors, and then it adds like demons are trying to take over ancient China or some bullshit. And you gotta obviously fight them off, and you fight them with the Samurai Warriors guys, so like the good guys are with the good guys and the bad guys are with the bad guys. And honestly, the story is actually not bad. Warriors of Orochi's games are pretty cool. The third one was crazy because it's like, oh, now we're gonna include time travel. You can make your own missions. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Don't try to justify this on me. I just want to play the game. But yeah, And then, I mean, you have, like, the Samurai Warriors games, and they're basic. I kind of want to say they're basically the same, but they're not, which is weird. Because they're not.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like they made a great adaptation, like to the handhelds, which of course you got to make compromises if you're going to do that.
Yeah, the PSP games are pretty good.
Yeah.
I have both of them. I think there was only 2 of them. It was like Dynasty Warriors. I think it was just called Dynasty Warriors, to be honest, and then it was like Dynasty Warriors Volume 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those games are cool. I need to go back to those. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, the thing is, though, I feel like if this game was not in the, like, if they did not make this game and they just said Dynasty Warriors 2, that's it, and they didn't make a third one, I feel like we would not have all these other games. Because I feel like this is the game that really, struck. I feel like Dynasty Warriors 2 was like, oh yeah, it's a cool game, blah blah blah, but like, it was so early on in the PlayStation's life cycle that, they wouldn't really think of, oh, this PSP thing, let's make a game for that, and this and that. It's like, no, because what was that? That was like 2001 or whatever it came out, something or 2000, something like that. So, Dynasty Warriors 3, and just like, oh, we should do this. But yeah, like I said, if it wasn't for Dynasty Warriors 3, I would say that all these other games would not be out. But all these other games, like, honestly, I recommend playing because some of them might not be as good as this one, but they are still good enough to play as far as I see it.
Oh yeah, as long as you pick them at a bargain price. But I'm really surprised a collection of these games has not come out.
I never thought of that. Yeah, no, that would be a really good idea. Because, you could just do it for PS3, to be honest. Yeah, just like, bundle the PS1, the PS2 games together, or bundle the PS3 games together, but, just like, keep it on the same console. Or, well, I would say just do, like, Origins, where it's just 2, 3, and 5 or something,
Yeah, you could do that too, but...
Yeah. No, they should do that and just sell it for, like, $30 or something.
Yeah.
I'm sure, because, like, I'm sure there's enough people everywhere in the world to make some kind of money off of doing that.
Oh yeah, sure.
Even just do it, like, even if you just do it for PS3 or whatever, do it for PS4, one of those. Like, I would buy it even if it was on PS3. It just like maybe put some effort into it, make things look better a little bit. I mean, putting the doing the frame rate stuff would be easy because you're working on a more powerful console, but like, yeah, like doing, even if they just remake Dynasty Warriors 3, they should do something.
Which would make you very happy, right?
Sure, well, that'd be really cool. Also, they should probably like actually add to it, like, oh, right stick controls the camera, because that's not a thing in this game, and it really needs it. Also, when you're doing a combo, you should be able to redirect yourself in mid-combo instead of having to stop to redirect yourself.
True.
That should be another thing. Yeah, true indeed. Yeah, oh, and then I forgot, we didn't talk about the other spin-off shit. There's Empires, and there's Extreme Legends, which I didn't know there was a Dynasty Warriors 3 Extreme Legends. I thought that started with 4, but I was wrong. Extreme Legends is literally, like, if this was on a PC, it would be an expansion pack. And they would add... I don't know what 3 added, but I know, like, things like 5 and stuff added, like, character creation, and there's a story for that character you create, and you do this and that, blah blah blah. So it's basically like an expansion pack, and then Empires is basically just Dynasty Warriors with like a strategy aspect where you're a leader and you're controlling land, and you can try to take over other land. And
I did play the first Extreme Legends. I did like that game quite a bit.
Yeah,
but
I need to play Dynasty.
Well, I'm a big strategy simulation fan anyway, so, like, I think the fact that they kind of reinvented the Dynasty Warrior formula by putting more of a strategy spin on it was kind of cool.
Are you talking about Empires, not Extreme Legends?
Oh yeah, sorry, but
yeah. No, that's all right.
Well. I did play Extreme Legends too, and I enjoyed that. But
yeah, I played a little bit of the one for 5. I think that's the only one I own right now. And I thought that was cool because it was like I was playing through the story, and then I got a note from somebody who like, "Hey, we'll treat you well if you just turn your backs on them and sabotage their thing or whatever." And I was like, nah. And then this guy, and then one of my commanding officers was like, "I saw you threw this note out. Like, like I have an idea." And I was just like, it was just like, why don't you go to pretend that you're gonna work with them and turn your backs on them and sabotage them? I was like, oh, this is actually kind of cool. It's actually a little freeform because you have choices. Like, you actually have choices. Like, right. You choose what faction to fight for, and then you can turn your back on them, and you just have these story choices, and that's really cool. That's something you don't see in a Dynasty Warriors game.
True, yeah.
So, yeah, I gotta pick up Extreme Legends for 3 because I want to see that so bad. Yeah, like I said, it's like an expansion pack, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just kind of sucks that you need that. You know, like, that's not enough to be a base game, though, which sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, how'd you feel about this game?
Pretty much the same way now they did back then. Like, it's just it's a fun, mindless game to play with like a short period of time. Again, I think this is probably my personal favorite of the series out of the ones I played so far, because I haven't played all of them, like I said. But just a little bit enhanced version of 2. Which at this point, since it was a new series, wasn't anything wrong with that.
No.
Yeah, just like a just a really like fun game. It's kind of fun just to because I kind of enjoy side note, you probably know this based upon some of our like recent gaming sessions, but I've always kind of enjoyed like going into a game and just picking a strong character and just being like okay, I'm the destructor of everything evil, and I'm here to fuck your shit up. And I'll just go in there and I'll just like go in there and wade myself with like a group of like 100 enemies and just go hack slash. But yeah, so our playtime with Vermintide recently has probably like shown you that. So yeah, and this game indulges that itch in a big way. Just it's pretty cool just to wade into a group of enemies, just be like 10 seconds later, like 50 of them are dead. It's like, fun. Next group. Who's next?
Murder is fun. That's what Greg's telling you right now.
In simulator form only.
In video games only. Don't go murdering people in real life. And if you do, blame it on your parents.
Yeah. The games are kind of cheesy. They're not very realistic at all. They definitely could be unbalanced in that point. Oh boy, can they be like unbalanced?
Oh my god, yes.
And the AI cheats like a motherfucker in some places. But all those things having been said,
juggling is a thing.
Yep. But yeah, all those things having been said, for what it's trying to do, it's fun. I think this game is probably the best representation of the Dynasty Warrior formula of just like, one guy against an army, go in there, chop off heads, have fun. So I think this game is probably the best one, the best one to do that formula.
Yeah, this game is great. There's a shit ton of replayability. So many characters to choose from. They have different weapons. There's horses. You gotta buy this game now, because there's horses. You can ride the horses. That's it, game sold.
One last thing that came to mind was like, we talked about the graphics a little bit and how good the graphics are. There's a lot of detail in this game. You usually don't notice it because you're too busy hacking enemies. But if you actually paused and looked at it, or looked at the game on YouTube, all the uniforms are very well detailed, intricate, and well done.
Mm-hmm.
The houses
they weren't thrown together.
Right, yeah, the houses have like different shades of colors to them and building styles and whatnot. The graphics themselves are good, not great PS2 graphics, but good graphics. But the detail and everything is amazing.
This was an early PS2 game.
Yeah, right.
So.
But the detail and everything is very, very impressive.
Yeah. No, you're right about that.
Which is probably one of the reasons the game suffers from slowdown occasionally.
Yes. I mean, there are some frustrating parts about the game. And some of it is kind of control, but it's not so bad to the point where, you feel like the game's just terrible. The controls are iffy, yes, but they don't ruin it that much. I mean, keep in mind, again, this is a game from 2001, so even though there's 2 analog sticks, they're not gonna use the second one for some reason.
Right.
So, I mean, 2 analog sticks, even at that point, was still pretty new. Not new enough, but still new, so... I can kind of forgive them. I mean, it's easy enough to manipulate the camera by just pressing down on the guard button, so I will forgive them on that. Yeah, it's a fun game. It's cheap enough to get, so I've found it sold for on eBay, and this is complete in box, $3 to $12.54.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is cheap.
Which is surprising, but then again, what people say about the series is not surprising. So,
right.
Whatever. Well, I mean, we're fans of the series, so... if we brought somebody else on, they'd probably be like, oh, this game, it's just so hard, and why? And there'd be a lot of complaining, probably. But I really it's so bad because we're already fans of the series. Like, I kind of want to get somebody in here to play the game and talk about and how they feel about it, because I'd like to get a fresh pair of eyes on this game.
Sure. Well, like I said, I think somebody could pick this game up and get the basics of it without too much hassle. Whether or not that they enjoy it depends upon their personal preferences. But I think the game holds up pretty well today still. I mean, yeah, like you said, it is it is an early PS2 game. The controls are a bit clunky. The camera angles are not that great. There is occasional slowdown. The graphics are okay by PS2 standards, but I mean, but as far as gameplay goes, the gameplay is still is rock solid.
Yeah, it's. I mean, like I said, you can't redirect yourself into combo, but other than that, it's still pretty good. It still works to this day. It's kind of like going back to an old fighting game. It's like, oh yeah, the combos. This is how this works, and blah blah blah. So I mean, I mean, you can look at it. It's still a little outdated, but hey, it's still a fun game to play.
True.
Yeah. So if that's all we have to say.
Yeah, I think I pretty much have said everything. I think I pretty much have said everything about the game.
Yeah.
That comes to mind. It has kind of made me curious to check out Dynasty Warriors 8, because I've actually heard some good things about that one.
I'm sure you could find it cheap enough on Steam.
Yeah.
I don't know how much it is now.
Yeah.
But on sale, it usually goes really cheap. I actually have it. So the Extreme Legends stuff, eventually just started turning into, we're just adding more content to the game and not, actually, changing things up and having different, game mode type of things.
Right.
So it's... yeah.
Yeah, but this is a series, like I said, this is a series I kind of forgot about for many, many years, because because I kind of got burned out on it. Until we played Dynasty Warrior 2 several months ago, the podcast, that kind of reminded me about it, and playing this game is yeah, I used to really enjoy these. I wonder how the new ones are. So, but
yeah, they're alright.
I mean, I heard the series got better, so I'm kind of curious to check it out.
I don't know. I feel like it did, but it didn't, if that makes sense. Just a quick little thing. If you ever have a friend who wants to play this with you, There's a 2-player mode, and then there's also like versus mode, and you do mini games or some bullshit. I don't know.
True.
I haven't really played them, to be honest, all this time, and I haven't even really played that stuff.
Yeah, I haven't either. So
yeah. Well, I mean, it's hard to find somebody else who would want to play this with you.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for listening. If you're interested in doing so, you can back us on Patreon. Helps us keep the lights on, helps us with equipment and other things. Thanks to our backers, our current backers. You can back us on Patreon. That is patreon.com/THEBOXFORT. Spelling of that website, which I should include, PATREON, might not be apparent. Anyway, you can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher. Please give us a rating. A rating that you feel is true. do not lie. Oh, unless it's 5 stars, then you can lie. 5 stars. Anyway, you can also listen on the website, which is TEBoxfort.com, TEHBOXFORT.com. Also have other stuff on that website. Some cool stuff. Should take a look at it. Oh boy, we have a Facebook group.
Yes, we do.
You could tell it's just like a long fucking thing I have to drone on for. We have a Facebook group. You just look up PlayStation Power. Sometimes we post stuff about what's going on with PlayStation, and I think one of the posts I did was like PlayStation 2 is like X years old now. Something like that. But yeah, you could join us there. Look up PlayStation Power. You should be able to find it. You can find me on Twitter. That is at Mr. Chief, at MISTURCHEEF. Also take that same name with the same spelling, and you can find me on YouTube, Hitbox, Twitch, Ustream, streaming out games and stuff. Streaming out games for podcasts as well. And also you can see the archive stuff on YouTube. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can email us, PlayStationPower@theboxfort.net. That is PlayStationPower@THEBOXFORT.net. And there's also a Discord for the Box Fort, so maybe join us there. I will leave a link in the description. Greg, where can we find you?
Well, beyond the usual places that George already mentioned, you can also email me directly at the other podcast that George and I do together, the Super NES Podcast, at the SNES Podcast at yahoo.com. That podcast is family friendly, and we just talk about, as the name implies, Super NES games.
Yay! Yep, and don't forget to check out other podcasts such as Master System Masterpieces and The Box Fort.
Yes, sir.
Yep. So, thanks, Greg.
Yep, thanks, George. Always fun.
Oh, as always. Goodbye.
Take care, all.